Welcome to this very first Cooking in Cornwall show, and you've got me, Marion Simmons. I'm the owner of Portreath Bakery, very established place. I'm here today to show you all about cooking Cornish food with using fresh produce as much as possible. And just to let you know, as it's the first show, we are looking for people to come on board and join us and just to get involved. So if there's anything you'd like featured, you need to email us or get in touch, Twitter, Facebook, all the media channels you'll find us. And I'd love you to join me in my kitchen. Come on, Elaine.
Hi there, Marion. The
Hi.
veggies arrived. This is amazing.
Yes.
Look at those lovely turnips. So sweet this time of the year, aren't they?
They are, and I tell you, your potatoes, I mean, I use a really fluffy potato in mine. Do you go for the same?
Maris Piper, that's Wilgers, those sort of potatoes. Yes.
Exactly the same, because they're nice and waxy and flaky, and they squish in the pasty. And do you find, I don't know about you, but I don't actually add any salt to my potatoes and things right till the last minute.
Oh no. Very last minute, that's when
last minute. So you really remember that, guys. Don't ever put seasoning on your vegetables before you start cooking. But I tell you what, you watch us and see what the professionals do. Obviously, while Elaine is here, she's going to be chopping all the vegetables for me. But as we all know, the pastry, I know you'll all find that a nightmare at home. So what I'm going to do is link you to our website so you can get a recipe for your Cornish pasty pastry ready for you to use at home. Now, as all I'm doing is just to let you know, the trick of it is everything as cold as you can. The water from the fridge, even put ice in it, leave it in the fridge overnight. But you want a really, really good quality flour. And now the flour needs to be as strong as you can, like a bread flour. It contains gluten, you see. And what happens when you add product to a nice strong flour, you get a strong structure for your pasty. And that's what you need. Remember, they went down the mines. I'm just going to tip this flour into the bowl. And I'm using a pastry margarine. So as you see, it's not like your run-of-the-mill margarine. This is really pliable. Now that gives you the nice flakiness in your pastry. So if you buy just pastry margarine, okay, and I'm going to chuck that in the bowl. Now some people will use lard and some people won't. But today, I'm using lard. If you don't want lard, you can use a vegetable fat substance for it. But I find that the lard, because of its taste, and you've got the saltiness and everything, it makes a lovely pastry. So, but really and truly, you need really cold ingredients. Now, the only other thing is a tiny bit of salt. That gets your structure working. And your ice cold water in a moment. So I've now kept a little drop of my water at the end, and I'm just picking up the last bit of the dry ingredients at the bottom. And when that's all mixed in, normally on pastry, if you were making it, I'd say to you, don't handle it, don't touch it too much, be as gentle as you can. But with this, because it's a pasty pastry, we need to beat it up for a few minutes until it all leaves the side of the bowl like this, and that's it done.
You usually use a bag this big in your kitchen, Marion.
I tell you what I do. Here we go.
Okay.
There we are. And, right, I'm going to just mix this up a little bit, because you will then scale this into little balls like this. You'll weigh them on here. I would suggest you do 4 ounces or 100 grams each, and then mould them up round, just like this, and prepare them to go in your fridge, because the trick of a good pasty is keeping that pastry as cold as possible. I'd even suggest you make yours the day before, keep it in the fridge, and you'll get a perfect product.
Well, there you go, Marion.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Good old Blue Peter style, so we prepared earlier.
I know, but aren't they feeling better, Elaine? You see how much more elastic that is?
Absolutely.
As you see yourself, look, that is a much better product now, because we left that overnight. And literally, we don't use any flour. I know probably at home you feel you should, but don't, because they won't stick together, and when you crimp them, they'll all come out. So Elaine and I, we're going to have some hungry pirates eating these, I think. I can't wait.
Treasure.
But see this pastry, look, it's stretchy now. Now that's because all my gluten's relaxed. It's freezing cold, really icy cold, and that's what we need to make our pasties. So
That sort of size, is it, Marion?
yeah, that's brilliant. Yep, same as. That's
Okay.
good.
There you
All
go.
right, perfect. Right, we're going to make a dozen pasties today, and I actually do mean a baker's dozen, so as we know, that's 13, Elaine.
Yeah, one for the baker.
Oh, yeah, got to do that. Right.
Okay.
Realistically, as we all know, a Cornish pasty should be D-shaped. It should have a real spicy kick of peppers and salts and flavours, and you should add the seasoning last thing, because as soon as that salt touches your potato, the starch will be released, and that means that all of the water and juices will be gone before it gets in your pasty, and we don't want that. We want it all as flavoursome as we can. Now again, put my hand in this, and I make sure that I put mine right in the middle. How about you, Elaine?
Yeah, constantly sort of mixing it up.
Yes, that's right.
We're the same as you commercially. I'm doing them like my mother-in-law taught me how to do them, which is fine for a domestic kitchen. But you try knocking up a few hundred or a few thousand in this way, you'd be there all night. But
that's
we
right.
do the same as you. And I don't think there's a great deal of difference, actually. I'll put a bit of salt and pepper in now. Do you use just black pepper? Or?
Yes, I do. And what do you use?
We use a mixture of black and white.
Ah, right. I use black pepper and just normal salt.
Well, we've been using sort of local sea salt recently.
Yeah.
I'm finding it's, again, you know, trying to support the local community and economy.
Yeah, I love that Cornish sea salt though. Have you made caramel with that? Because I have.
No.
Oh, Cornish caramel, homemade with sea salt on top. Wow, delicious. We'll have to do that.
And a bit of a sort of...
I then put seasoning on top of my meat, do you? Or no?
I've just done that, actually.
Oh, you're all right.
And of course you just do one layer of meat, do you?
Yes,
Marion?
I do.
Right, well, we don't. We do, we're going to do a couple of layers of meat.
Right, okay.
And of course, I mean, this is just a bit haphazard, one of these. Everyone's going to taste different. I think Phil Ugeldi said to me, every Cornish pasty turns out starts the same, but to them all different, my answer.
Oh, I think you're right.
Quite right.
That is a D-shaped pasty. So the D-shaped pasty, this is what the legal requirement is now in Cornwall. If you're a pasty producer, it has to be D-shaped, and luckily we both do that, so we don't have to change, do we?
That's right.
Right. The other thing is you must have, if you're a pasty producer, 12.5% meat. Well, we put way over that
now.
Yeah,
so do we.
Do you?
Yeah.
Now, just to show you at home, because I think you'll need to do, see what we actually do to crimp a pasty. Now, I've got me D-shaped. You can see that perfectly. And this point is the most important part of this crimp. Now, this point, I need to get that every time you use that point, you create a new point. And then that point to that point, that to that point, that to that point. And that's how it goes, really. And you roll it under. So I've still got my point, look, and there's the other one. So I just want you to just tuck it under like this. And then you're all done. Don't let those juices out.
No.
Best part.
And of course, Marion, someone told me once, like you get a bit of good advice every so often. They tell me always to start at this end.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of crimpers that actually come from this side.
I'm the same with you, look.
And he said, always start this end. Actually, it was Mike Williams from the college. And he said, they'll never come open.
No.
Yeah. Well, my first ones did, but never
Got there in the end, didn't they?
But he said, if you do that, they won't come open. Do you know what they don't?
No, it's brilliant.
They just do not come open. Smilers, they used to call them in the old days.
So as you can see, mine are really heavy. But they look the same size now, look. Yeah.
Do you stretch this?
Yes,
you're
I
doing
do.
exactly the same as me.
You can't help it, can you?
Right.
I'm almost making this a bit thinner here. Now, I always give you another tip for today so that you don't eat your smiler. Is you see this back part here? That's always higher than the front part.
Yes, I do that,
so you've got your point and the higher at the back, and you can't go wrong. So there we are.
I find when I've been teaching people how to make pasties that they're almost afraid of the pastry.
Oh yeah, don't be. Look, I can stretch this.
Yeah,
there we go.
There you go. You can just hang it up like that, can't you?
Yeah,
really?
you can. But that's because we've let it rest overnight in the fridge.
And developed that gluten before we started.
Yeah.
So we've got that edge. This is exactly the same, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then we're working on that to create the crimp.
That's right. Yes, that's the first bit done, so that's good. Now, I don't know about you, Elaine, but I always put a bit of silicone paper or greaseproof if you're doing it at home. I'd always put that on the bottom of your tray. Now, some people, and I remember doing this when I first started, would open the packet of butter, and it's quite good to use at home, actually. You can use the butter, but just make sure the butter packet, that's if you don't buy a tub, obviously. You can use that just as your silicone and pop your pasties on. Now,
that's a sort of tip like my mother-in-law used to use. It's sort of going back, a lot of this stuff is going back to the olden days. when people made do and mend, you know,
Oh,
they
yes.
couldn't afford to go out and buy a sheet of silicone paper. So
They
like
use
you
a
said, they
butter
used the
pack.
butter pack.
Yes, yes. Well, last but not least, we need to make these pasties look good when they come out of the oven. So I use a drop of milk, and really and truly full cream milk for this is better because of in the milk it's got a natural sugar, and that gives it a bit of a glaze, and also the egg yolk helps colour. So I've got, just whisk that together.
No, we use egg.
Yeah.
And also we use, I know people might think it's stupid, but we use local free-range eggs.
Yeah, we do too.
Because you've got that beautiful colour. If you're making cakes, you've got that extra air that goes into them.
Yeah, that's right. Now, just to let you know, I'm going to now egg wash these pasties, and I usually put 2 holes in mine. Do you put any holes in yours?
I just put 1 hole in.
Oh, you put 1. I put 2 because I always find it acts a bit like a pressure cooker, where the steam goes in and it lets it out. Because if you don't do that, it blows up sometimes, and you get a great big layer of air right under that crimp, and it looks awful, doesn't that? I'm just going to stab twice, and that's that. Oh, nearly had a toucher there. Look, get that away.
Yeah, we just try and avoid that, don't you, Marion?
Yeah.
And then they touch each other.
As soon as they do touch, they break open, and it becomes a complete nightmare because you lose all your gravy, and you don't want to do that. Right, mine are ready for the oven, Elaine.
Yeah,
Yours?
what about meat? What meat do you use?
I use skirt.
Yeah, so do we.
Yeah, because it's got, if you have a look at this skirt a minute, it has got the tiniest bits of fat in it. Now, they all melt down, and it's brilliant. We don't ever use mincemeat. It's chunked, it's cubed. You can use small cubes, but don't ever use mincemeat. Not really, don't like it.
And look at the lovely colour, that's where the
Yeah,
flavour's
that's right.
nicely matured, isn't it? So
Let's get these in the Argo.
Okay.
All right. Right. There we are. That's 1. That's 2. There we are. Well, that was great making those pasties. That's the end of part 1. Join me in part 2 and watch us making some delicious Cornish scones.
Carters have specialised in providing high-quality food, retail and presentation packaging materials to customers throughout the Duchy beyond 1975. We have over 40,000 square foot of warehousing, enabling us to offer a huge product range from stock. Our own fleet of vehicles, coupled with our logistic partners, enable fast delivery, quality products, competitive prices and a fast and friendly delivery service. We really do offer the complete package. Fresh Limited has been supplying quality prepared and wholesale fruit and veg to the catering trade in Cornwall since 1990, and today are recognised as one of the Southwest's leading suppliers of fresh produce. We supply a range of customers from the finest restaurants and hotels in the Southwest to large bakeries and ready meal companies nationwide. Contact Pot Fresh now to discuss your fruit and veg needs. Robert Trevarthen is an independent wholesale butcher selling all meats including own hams, cold meats and hog's pudding. With one of the largest and most modern independent abattoirs in Cornwall, Robert Trevarthen employs some 60 people. All meat is from local farmers and has full Cornish traceability. Visit us online at www.rjtrevarthen.co.uk and choose from our selection of fine Cornish products. Home-produced conserves, bursting with flavour and packed with fruit, serving discerning customers in both the retail and catering trades. Lovingly made on the farm and including our own hand-picked scrumptious strawberries, 8 ounces of fruit in a 12-ounce jar. S&A Software is a company based here in Cornwall, providing software management and accounting solutions for many types of businesses. Our mini POS system is just one of our products, flexible and user-friendly, yet providing powerful stock, sales and accounts analysis. Our team provide telephone, online and on-site support, along with training and tailoring to suit your needs. Please call 01209 843 470. Stevens Cornish Slate, producing quality Cornish slate tableware by hand in Redruth in Cornwall. Add a touch of elegance and class to your restaurant table, hotel, shop or home. We specialise in making bespoke items for clients like Ben's Cornish Kitchen in Marion, Portreath Bakery and the Falmouth Hotel. We can do the same for you. Shop online too at stevenscornishslate.co.uk. Stevens Cornish Slate, made in Cornwall with pride. If you live in Cornwall or you're just simply visiting, then you must take time to sample the mouth-watering Nepalese and Indian cuisine being offered by the Gurkha restaurant in St Austell. Enjoy the flavours and delights of their cooking in a relaxed and friendly restaurant. View their menu online at nepalesegurkha.co.uk or book a table on 01726 673 90.
Welcome back to our part 2 of the Cornish cooking programme. I'm glad you came back. Anyway, just to say, I'm just about to make some nice scones, Elaine.
Scones or scones?
Oh, scones, I say. What do you say?
Scones.
Oh, well, that's both of us then. We've got
Take
that
the lid
right.
off, it works better.
Yeah, it does. No, you are right there. As you can see, I'm using a full cream milk in my scones. And just weigh that up. That's brilliant. I'm using a really strong flour again. Same again, so if you buy a big bag, you can make your pasties and scones on the same day like me. I'm going to tip this into the bowl. Now scones, everybody thinks they're so hard to make, and they're really not. And I've just put in there some strong flour, some caster sugar, some cake margarine. It's me again with my hands in it.
Oh, got to.
Yes, break that up a little bit. And then I'm going to use today baking powder. Now, like I said, we've been talking about recycling, haven't we, and how you can recycle products. If you have some milk that's gone out of date, and even if it's separated, give it a good shake, and you can actually use that for your scones, because it creates the same as a baking powder. It gives off a lactic acid, and that creates the rise in the scones.
That's right.
So there's no eggs, there's no nothing like that. It's just basic ingredients that go in here. So I'm adding...
That's a serious amount of baking powder.
It is serious. We want a serious jump in ours.
Yeah. What I do use sometimes, Marion, because you're talking about sour milk, is that I use a creme fraiche.
Oh, right.
Because that will give you the same sort of, well, sourness, acidy sort of taste.
Yeah, that's
I just
nice.
use 50% of this and 50% of milk.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't do it commercially, but if I'm making scones at home.
Oh, for homemade
do
scones,
yeah.
tip of the day, use some
Tip
creme
of the
fraiche.
day.
Right, well, I'm just going to literally mix this a tiny bit. Now, as Elaine just said, stand back. Usually it puffs up and all goes over you, but it won't do that. If you just put it on very gently, you literally just want to mix the fat through your flour. Just, that's enough now. Right, I've weighed my milk and I'm tipping that in again. Now, the baker's tip again is keep some right at the end, because what you need to do is pick up all the dry ingredients when you've made your scones, and then it'll be easier for you to mould. Now, with the scones, I always advise do not mix them too much and beat the hell out of it. You just need to mix them for about 1 minute. 1 minute 20 seconds if it's a bigger mixture, but I'd say these will be done in 1 minute. Now, if you have a look at this, Elaine, they're a little bit too dry.
Yes.
Now, as I was saying to you, all different flour, it depends whether it's warm, it's cold, where it's stored. It will take a different amount of liquid because there's something called a grist on a flour. And so today I've noticed that this flour needs a little drop more milk.
It needs to be sticky, doesn't it? The
Yeah.
scone needs to be really sticky. When
Yeah,
you work
it does.
with it.
And obviously, if it's too much liquid, it will flow. But we know what it looks like now, don't we? After
You
all
get
these
used to
years.
it. You get
How long
used
you
to
had
it.
chops?
Oh, 30 odd years.
I've been at between 25 this August. Elaine, that's looking really sticky to me. How about you? Have a look at that.
There's a bit on the work surface.
See this? Now with your other pastry, it was stretchy. Now this isn't, look, you see this, it's great. It's sticky as, feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. So on a nice floured surface, just put this. And the trick is not to handle it too much, because we've just added all our baking powders and we've added everything nice to this mix, the nice milk. And the least you handle it, the better. Now a little tip, if you get too much on your hands,
rub it off, yeah.
Rub it off like this. And that's done. Right.
What's your bit? There's my bit.
Right, 6 each, go.
Well, this is a nifty piece of machinery.
you what.
I am so impressed.
Are you? You need to get one of those for your
absolutely.
bakery.
This,
So just have one of your pins. Now, with rolling this, I've used quite a lot of flour because I like them a bit dusty on top. Now, and I'd say 1/2 inch thick, or whatever the equivalent is. I'm a bit old for the other metrics.
Yeah, I don't speak that new language.
So I'm 1/2 inch thick, and that's about perfect. Now,
And
like
do you
Elaine, she can probably feel that and feel the bumps, can't you?
Absolutely. Do you find as well, as this is a small amount, but I always tend to sort of
Yeah, relax it.
relax it,
Yeah,
let it
that's-
sort of shrink back
Yeah.
naturally.
And because you're going to be cutting a circle, I always say keep a circular just to start off with. Now, I usually have, when I'm in the bakery, a great big surface like this, so I'm used to just going along like this with mine. What do you do?
Well, of course, we haven't got one of these, knackered bits of kit. We have to press down and we have to go like that.
Oh, there.
And actually, they don't stick, do they?
No, they're brilliant. And that's because there's little air holes in the side, look.
Yeah, I've got my fingers over.
Right,
That is good.
now I'm going to place these on my tray, and there's a dozen pirates. So we'll make a dozen pasties, obviously a baker's one again. A dozen
scones.
pasties, scones. I've got pasties on the brain there.
Do you find, Marion, when you do what I call a second roll?
It's not so good.
That's right.
So what I do with the extra, because obviously we're used to doing big quantities, I can advise you to do something with this. If you make your 12 and you've got a little bit left, pop it in a bag in your freezer and keep it for our next show, because I've got something up my sleeve to do with these scones that are over.
Should we do that then?
Yeah, well, I'll keep my bit. You roll yours out. We need 12, so we're going to have to get 12 and we'll keep the rest.
Because I've got 5, you've got 4.
Right, okay, here we
We'll
go.
have to sort of put the last bit together, won't we, really?
Yes, right, there we go. Won't roll that again.
Oh, I do that. I sometimes squeeze it inside here as well, like that.
Oh dear,
Yeah,
oh
to
my
get a bit
goodness
of
me.
hand. Yeah, never waste.
Right, what have you got left?
I've got enough to make 8. I just love that.
That's perfect. Right, and we'll keep these bits.
Mhm.
And remind me, when we do our next one, what I'm going to do with that.
Right.
I'm going to have a bit of dust, want some? So they all look the same. I can't do it from here. I have to check it
Yeah,
like
I
this,
know.
see? Flour everywhere, me. Right, let's get these scones in the oven, Elaine. Now, I pop mine straight in, but you said you do yours different.
No, I think we use a different raising agent. We always leave ours to stand for a good 15, 20 minutes.
All right.
And the chemical reaction happens then. And then when we put them into the oven, that's when they jump up.
I think when you make them the way we have with just the raw ingredients,
Yes.
we've just used natural ingredients that we could find. We've not added anything to it, and we put the baking powder in that we use, and we have to get them in the oven quick because then they jump.
Like I said, there's a serious amount of baking powder.
Yeah.
I'll have to try your recipe now, Rick.
Oh, right. Right, let's get these pasties out at the same time, shall we?
Yeah. Got some hungry people in there ready to eat them, I think.
Oh, look at these hungry pirates. Wow. Oh, look at this. Oh, I tell you, look at these. Now, what you guys have got to remember, we just want to thank the pirates today. I want to thank you for coming on our first ever cookery show. And I actually hope you enjoy it, and I know you guys do so much for charity, so thanks for joining us today.
There we go.
I hope you enjoy your pasties. Now, the ones on this side.
We've been at sea for 6 months, we're nothing but ship's biscuits.
Oh, there we are. There we are. All right, well, you join it. Help yourself, guys. All right. Handsome. Well, thanks so much for watching us on our very first Cornwall cookery show. And it's been a pleasure to have you with us, Elaine. It really has. Thank you so much.
It's just been so much fun, hasn't it?
Oh, yes. And these guys, well, what do you think?
Absolutely.
So look at them. Brilliant. Brilliant. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.